Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Riven. When we last left off, we just finished up with Temple Island, and now we are on Jungle Island. So far it doesn't look very jungle-y, but hey. We have two ways we can go from here. Down here you may want to examine this thing. This eyeball-looking thing is actually part of a certain puzzle in Riven. A lot of things interconnect to puzzles in this game. A lot of things. And if you don't know where you're going and what all these things connect to, you're going to have a lot of backtracking on your hands. So this is one of them. Listen. That sounded sort of like a peeper frog, right? And if you look closely, right there, it flashed a little number. Yes, that is a number. That is a Dini numeral, as a matter of fact. I believe that is the number 3. I'm a little rusty on my Dini numeral, so don't trust me, guys. And it makes sense that it would sound like a frog, because you go and you turn back, looks like a frog. I know it doesn't look like any frog you've probably ever seen, but trust me, it's a frog. And also, that eyeball is in the exact place it would be on the real animal. I think we'll see him later. Yeah, we see him later. This button would call the maglev back if you didn't have it back already. We have two paths, as you can see. A lower one and an upper one. Just so happens I want to go to the upper one, so let's go there for now. If you look this way, this is a dagger. Yup, this is a dagger. This actually is part of a little backstory, these daggers. There were 5 of them. One of them got destroyed, I believe, on the island that is now Prison Island, which is where Catherine is being held. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. And I think Catherine put them there as a symbol of her gang of followers, the Moiety, which is what those ninja guys are. You saw the ninja back there. Oh, look, there's Temple Island, by the way. You see the thingy. Oh, a bug. Temple Island. There's the dagger again. And Gen twisted it by saying that he put the daggers there as symbols of his people's failure. Yeah, real nice guy. Some deforestation has gone on here, as you can see. In the original island of Riven, which you hear about in the Book of Atris, all of this was once a forest. Now it's a barren wasteland. If you look closely, you can see an axe. And down this path is actually the route to another island. We're not going to go that way just yet. If you look, is it here or is it somewhere else? But there's one thing stuck in a tree that you can tell was used for mining purposes. If you go down this way, and I believe if you turn... Ooh, did you hear that hawk? I forget which tree it is, but it's one of these trees. They have something. It has like a little saw embedded in it, but I can't seem to find it. Oh well. Now, this door, if you look at this right there, that is a rendering error. They are too new for the island when everything else looks rustic and dirty. That is a rendering error. They forgot to put... I'm sorry, guys. That is a rendering mistake. Hang on a second, I'm gonna save just in case that was Riven messing up. That's actually a rendering mistake, as I was saying. The thing that supports Riven's graphics forgot to put detail on those. Oh, this thing? This is a beetle. This is actually one of those ink beetles. And if you move your hand over it, it flies away. Yes, the Dini would smash those beetles up and use them as ink for their linking books. Gross, huh? That, by the way, that's nothing. That's just how the light seemed to come through the trees. It used to be a big thing with Myst fans. Now here's the actual jungle part of Jungle Island. Actually, pretty much the only jungle-y part of Jungle Island. Now there's a lot of secrets here. You can see that some of these trees are stripped of their bark. That bark is actually used for making the pages of linking books, which Gen wanted to be free. In order to be free. You can see a number of lightning bugs, and if you've ever played Uru live, you have a morbid dislike of lightning bugs. You saw maybe an ink beetle go flying past. They're actually called golden beetles, golden ink beetles or whatever. You'll see a plethora of mushrooms, yes those are mushrooms, and here's another dagger. And actually if you go down this way, you find another thing. Listen very closely. That's the cry of another certain animal called a sunner. You'll see them later. That is the specific mark of the moiety. That is their religious symbol. And that little thing glowing in the center, that's a fire model. This is the first game in which we see fire models. You'll note on the back of this eyeball is the number 4. Yes, that's the number 4. So, frog 3, sunner 4. You'll see what the sunners look like later. And by the way, there's another one of those daggers. There's a tip of it lodged in the log. If we go back, you can see it better. Well, not quite. No, further back yet. Yeah, if we go back, you can see it. So there are, so far, 3 daggers we've seen. There's split paths. If we go down this way... Ooh. This is another symbol of the wark. The wark is basically Gen's totem, I guess you could call it. Because, he uses them for something, and yes, they are a real animal. If you go back along this path, you'll note, if you press this little button right here, it's very hard to see, the mouth opens up, but we're not going to do that yet, because that leads to the upper levels, kind of like Channelwood, and it also leads to an escape to Gen's lair, which we'll come back to later. There's also actually 2 ways you can get there. Now if you go up, there's supposed to be a little girl here. Where is she? I don't know why she's not showing up, but there's supposed to be a little girl right there. I guess I messed it up. Oh, hey, a beetle. If you look real closely, see those weird things growing on the mushrooms? Yeah, those are fruit. The Rivenese eat them as fruit. Now, I want to show you guys a real familiar view, if I can get it to show. Kind of reminding you of the chasm in Selenitic. Those plants grow there because they like the sulfur that's produced by this. If you had any doubts that the islands were tearing themselves apart, and yes, that's why it's called Riven, because the islands are being torn apart, literally riven, which means to split or tear apart. It's the past tense of the word rive, or rend. And if you had any doubts that the island was tearing itself apart, there you go. I believe you can see it on the other side. Yup. And there are those flowers again. Now, we're going to go into the village portion of Riven. This, by the way, is the largest island on Riven. If you look... Oh, no! That alarm is being sounded because we're unfamiliar. We're strangers here. If Gen caught us, we'd be in big trouble. Or if any of the surveyors caught us, we'd be in big trouble. Because, well, we're foreigners. We look strange to these guys. I mean, if you were an island native and somebody came up to you in jeans and a t-shirt, what would you do? Freak out, right? Now, if you go up this way, it just takes you back up here. If you go the other way, it takes you to the village. So let's go to the village. That, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Nice view of the sea, I suppose. If I can get it to show, I want to show... Oh, here it is. You may not be able to see this very well, but right here is a drawing. That's supposed to signify Gen with the star over his head. He's holding little people, and they're the warks. Looks like he feeds people to these warks. Kind of creepy. Down here, you may notice something. And, as you can see, there are people running away from us for some reason. Apparently, they don't like us too much. Foreigners. There was a child right there and a mother picked her up, but it was taking too long, so I skipped it. A very interesting culture, though. There's a certain thing coming up that is kinda creepy. Yeah, this thing. I'll tell you why it's so creepy later. Now, if you look in the water, you'll notice there's a bunch of holes in the water. pretty freaking odd, right? Well, that's because those are heat pockets, and the water in Riven is full of bacteria that don't like heat at all. And when heat is applied, they will move the water away, actually move the water molecules away. So that's what these heat pockets are. It's little pockets in the water. That thing, you'll find out why it's so creepy in a little bit. Here's a hint. It was supposed to follow you as you moved around, but they couldn't get it to render right. Now up here, you'll notice several huts. Very interesting, right?